Hello and welcome to this video, to our next video. Now we are going to be hacking a vulnerable machine, which is a Linux server. So we created a Linux server already, a vulnerable Linux server for this simulation, for this hack. So what we're going to do first, we've created our vulnerable machine. Now I love putting my own in bridge, in a bridge network, in order for it to have its own IP address. So it's on bridge already. If it's on that, you put it on bridge. Then you press your OK. Now, what to do next is to start it up, to start our vulnerable machine. While our vulnerable machine is up, then we open our Kali Linux. That means our Linux that we are going to use for attacking. You can also use Parrot. You can use so many distros for hacking. So what I'm using here will be Kali Linux. Then I start it up. Why our Kali is starting up? We want to log in our vulnerable machine. You go to your vulnerable machine because two two Linux server is two Linux is on already. So one is server and the other one is the our Kali Linux. So I'll click on my Metasploitable. That means our vulnerable Linux machine. Then I log in. M Our login is MSF admin. So MSF admin. Then our password is also MSF admin. So now to check our IP address, to check the IP address on our vulnerable machine, there's a command called ifconfig. So you type ifconfig on the terminal, then press OK. So now you can see that this in our ET0 interface, we have inet address, which is the 192.168.0.107. So that is the IP address given to our Metasploitable server. So our server IP now is 192.168.0.107. So now let's go to our Kali to log in. Now you go to your Kali Linux and log in your Kali. So when you log in your Kali, now you want to check if the server is alive. Now, for anything you do, you want to make an attack or you want to hack a machine, you first check if the IP address of the machine is alive. So we are sending an ICMP packet, Internet Control Message Protocol packet, to the server in order for us to check if the server is alive or not. Then the command we use is ping. Then now to use that, we open our terminal. That's our terminal emulator. I'm going to increase the size for more view. Then now in this we use ping. So we ping it, then you go to check your vulnerable server IP address, which is 192.168.0.107. So use 192.168.0.107. Then as you can see we are sending an ICMP packet to the server, and which is sending 64 bytes from 192.168.0.107. So now, as it's loading like this, it means the site is alive. So you press your Control C in order to cancel it, in order to cancel our ping request. So now, what to do next? We'll be using Nmap to scan for ports that are opened or closed. In every server, in most servers, you understand, there are some ports that are open, there are some ports that are closed, and those ports are used for specific purposes. So now to scan for open and close ports, we use Nmap. Nmap, that's network mapper. So what we do now, we use sudo nmap. Let me clear this. So sudo nmap, then sv, there are many Linux Nmap commands, but I'll be using SV to check for version of the port. Why some people will be using SS just to check for only ports that are open and closed. But to do it automatically, I use SV. That's small letter S and capital letter V. So use sudo nmap sv, then the IP address, which is 192.168.0.107. So the Nmap will start scanning. Now, why the Nmap is doing that, we go to our web browser. We go to our web browser, and there is a site in which developers and hackers and red teamers upload exploits for us to use. Yes, there's a site called exploit DB, that's exploit database. So this exploit database has a lot of exploits, new exploits that people use to attack a system, but this is open source, as and anyone can use this. So now what I'm going to do is that we'll go back to our terminal, and okay, our Nmap is still scanning the IP address of the server. Okay, now it has brought out an IP address which is port 21, port 22. It brought out a whole lot of IP addresses, a whole lot of IP address. Sorry, a whole lot of ports, a whole lot of open ports. So now there's an open port called FTP, and it's brought out the version which is VSFTPD 2.3.4. There are other ones also which are available. So the one we are going to dwell on will be on the FTP. We are going to hack the FTP ports. And by doing that, we want to check if this version of this FTP will match a publicly available exploit. So what I do now is to copy the version and go to exploit DB to search if there have been an exploit for this. Okay, now we can see that VSFTPD has a vulnerability which will create a backdoor communication command execution. So VSFTPD 2.3.4 has an has a vulnerability of backdoor command execution. So, and the exploit is publicly available. You can download it. You can download it here. So, and also, instead of using this exploit DB, we can use a command line, the command line interface of exploit DB, which is /ploit. So, I'll come here. Let's open another terminal. So I come here and let me increase the so /ploit to write it well, /ploit, and we paste it, which is VSS 2.3.4. So now you can see VSS 3.4 has a backdoor command execution. So now what do we do next? We have found the vulnerability, which we it was and the vulnerability was uploaded 2021 2021 April. I think it's April. Yes, April, on 12th April. So now what we do next is to exploit this server. We have found the vulnerability. Now, what do we use to exploit? Most attackers use a Metasploitable to exploit a server. So Metasploitable is already pre-installed on our Kali Linux. It's already available. We don't need to download anything for us to use Metasploitable. So now I'll have to open another terminal again. we have to open another terminal again. Then to start up our Metasploit, we use MSF console. So Metasploit is used to exploit a vulnerability. So now what we do next is to type MSF console. Now it will start up our Metasploit framework. MSF control means Metasploit framework. So this is what we are going to use. So now our Metasploit framework has been loaded. Now you can see it. Metasploit framework has 2,413 exploits, 1,242 auxiliary, 423 posts, 1,465 payloads, 47 encoders, 11 knobs, and 9 invasion. So now let's see if our exploit is part of this our vulnerability is part of this exploit in this Metasploitable. So now how do we do it? So now we put search. There's a command on Metasploitable. We use search, and you paste the version of this port of the FTP port, which is VSFTPD 2.3.4. So now you can see it here, VSF 2.3.4. Then press enter. So now you can see that there's an exploit. So this exploit Unix FTP 234 backdoor. Disclosure date was 2011-07-03. Rank excellent, check no. Description backdoor command execution. So now what we are going to do is that we want to use this exploit. How do we do that? We use a command called use. Just use. So we just type use, then copy from this exploit here to where this backdoor is. Then you paste it. Now you can see now that we are already in the exploit. This is Unix FTP VSFTPD 234 backdoor. So now what do we do next is what do we do with this exploit? How do we do it? How are we going to do it? Then Metasploit has an option, as a method to show options of how we can use this exploit. So you type show options. Now, in this show options, you can see here it means COC port, proxies, remote host, and remote port. But we don't need a C host, which is no. That's why here required no. Then C port, we don't need a C port, no. Proxies, we don't need proxy. Now this is remote host. Our remote host is what we are attacking, which is this. We are attacking this server. Then it tells us to put in a remote host. Yes, because this place is empty, so there's nothing here. If we want to exploit it now, it will not exploit anything. It will bring an error. But we are attacking what? Port 21. Because if you go back to where we scan, where we scan, the port of FTP is port 21. So now we come here and there's a command called set. We want to set our remote host to the IP address of the vulnerable server. So now what we do next is set our remote hosts. So Linux is case sensitive and command there are case sensitive. If you put in a capital letter instead of a small letter is an error. So set roast, then you put in the IP address of the server, which is 192.168.0.107. So now our remote host have been done. these are remote hosts, then it has been set. Then we press show options again. You can see the IP address. You can see the IP address of our remote host. That's the IP address of our remote host, which is 192.168.0.107. So now what do we do next is to exploit now, because we have completed the requirements of this, which is remote host, yes, then remote port, yes. Then now just press run, or you can press run, or you can type exploit. So I'm going to type run. Now the exploit is already working. Now it found a shell, it found shell, and backdoor service have been pawned. Now a session have been opened. Now we have backdoor the server. So if I should press an ls now, which is a Linux command for listing directories, you can see we have bin boot cd-rom. You can see in this server, if I cd into home, if I cd into home and I press ls, then you can see msf admin. Then okay, now imagine I create a folder here. Let me create a folder here. Let me create a folder, a folder or a text file. Let's just create a folder. I use mkdir in the server now. Mkdir security. Then if I ls here, you will see security. Now let me ls over here. I cd into my into msf admin, because msf admin is a user. Then we ls. You can see now security is there. Now we have a total control of this server. I can reboot the server from here. I can shut down the server from here. But my aim is to get a sensitive information and just to copy and get things from here. So I can cd into security and copy some files inside that they kept. Now I can cd dot dot. That means to go back, and I ls again. Then I can cd dot dot again. Then I ls. Then you can cd into root also. Then ls, you see the VNC logs, the reset logs, and sh, and you can cd into desktop and so many things. Now let's reboot the server. I'll just press reboot, and immediately the server reboots. Now you can see we have total control of this server, but as an attacker, you may not reboot, because it might cause an issue, and it might bring out alarm that, oh, someone is in the server, stuffs like that. So now, thank you very much. We've been able to attack a vulnerable machine. So next we are going to attack another port. Next, we are going to attack another port, because for every port there are different methods in attacking. In this FTP is this method, but for different ports there are many methods for attacking. Thank you very much, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.